Welcome to Morning Brew with, yes, your girl Germaine. And we are back with another brew topic today. So, yesterday I decided I was drinking water because I needed more water in my system. That is true. I still do. And I do have my water bottles with me. But you know what? I'm brewing some coffee today because I'm just in a mood for a cappuccino. So we're going to do a hazelnut cappuccino today. So as you are chiming in, hey, let me know what you are sipping on. What are you drinking? Doesn't have to be coffee. I know everybody's not a coffee drinker, and that's okay. Tea is wonderful. We'll be switching it up sometimes here on Morning Brew. But hey, stop by and let me know what you're drinking. And hey, maybe you can chime into this conversation that we're going to have today. So today's brew is inflation. Proof your passion. All right. So give it a few seconds. We're going to get into it. And, today is election day. Yep. Today's election day, November 4th. Please make sure you go vote in your local community, in your local state. It does matter. It matters more than ever right now. Your voice, this is a way for your voice to be heard. So we're going to talk a little bit about that also, but as we're talking about uh passion, so purpose. But yes, please, if you haven't, make sure you go out today before it's too late. Cast your vote. All right, so let's get into this. You know how we do. We take a pause and we pour in the purpose. So let's get into today's brew in a moment. Give me a second. Let me just um hold on one second. Uh let me mute my line so it's not causing any interruptions during our conversation today. All right, got it. All right, so once again, hope everybody's doing good out there. Thank you so much for taking a moment just to stop by for a quick coffee break or a tea break, or maybe you're drinking your smoothie today. I'm not sure. I have water and I'm brewing some cappuccino right now. So, but right now, today's brew, as I stated, was inflation. Proof your passion. So, you know how we do. We take a pause so we can pour in a purpose. And right now, let's get into this brew topic. So, passion can pivot in any economy. And as we all know, we have no idea what is happening right now with this economy. We're not clear, we're not sure, or are we not paying attention? Because that's one thing we probably need to do is start paying attention, you know, because there's a lot of craziness going on in the world today, and people are starting to feel the effects of it. So, and yes, prices keep raising, inflation, right? But let's get into this. We're living in uncertain times, as we all know, because we're starting to really feel that, right? We're sensing that. So, with rising costs, shifting industries, and constant change, but purpose doesn't crumble in crisis, it evolves. Keep that in mind. Purpose doesn't crumble in crisis, it evolves. So, when the economy shakes, your purpose can stand firm. If you allow your mindset, if you allow your mindset to grow with it, okay? So just like smart investments, purpose requires adaptability. And it feels like, yes, we're adapting right now, strategy, and long term vision. So hold that thought. Let me grab my cappuccino real quick. Whew. Because sometimes you just need a sip, right? Sometimes. Yes. So hold on one sec. I'm just adding, on top of my cappuccino, I'm just adding a little hazelnut creamer into it. Probably don't need it, but I'm adding it. All right. So, all right, let's continue to get into this. Okay. Let's get into inflation. Let's get into this brew topic, inflation, proof your purpose. All right. So, here is where we're going to start pouring. Let's start pouring into purpose in this segment right now. All right. Purpose isn't canceled in a crisis. Did you hear me? Purpose isn't canceled in a crisis. Let's break that down a little more. Purpose isn't tied to comfort. It's refined in pressure. And a lot right now, we're probably feeling the pressure of a lot. A lot of people's whole everything has been shifted and is changing, from finances, from workplace, from even with people being able to feed their family, having to make a decision. Do I put gas in my car or do I get something to eat? I heard that was something a young lady was challenged with, because it's real right now what's happening. It's really affecting us. And the thing is, we got to be more conscious of paying attention to really what's being said, um, because I think we just want to exist in a world. I don't know. I don't know if we want to exist in a world, whereas at one point we felt everything was safe, and these are some things we did not just have to think about, didn't want to think about. um we felt safe, and right now we don't. But in the midst of all this that's taking place, remember purpose. You are purpose for something. You were created for something. And what you bring is so different and unique from anybody else. So, what you're purposely designed for is for you. So, I know in the midst of a bunch of chaos, a bunch of stuff happening, sometimes it's finding that still place to really tap into purpose. So, remember, purpose isn't canceled in a crisis, purpose isn't tied to comfort, it's refined in pressure. When plans shift, purpose remains your anchor. Please hold on to that. Resilience is your recession proof skills. Resilience is your pressure proof skills. And when I think about we as a people, we as Black people, right? Um, we're an amazing people. We really are, because we find a way in the most challenging circumstances, in the most challenging times, in those pressure points. We have an ability, I just believe it's an innate ability to survive, to figure it out, as tough as it may be. I just really believe there's something in us. Maybe that's why the others are always so upset with us, right? But there's something that kicks on that makes us just kick into a mode of survival and having to work it out with less or with nothing. We have an ability to figure it out. Yeah, sometimes we wish it could be different, but in crisis moments, we have this way of knowing how to just tap in, not giving up, being resilient, figuring it out in the toughest times, making it possible out of nothing. So lean on that, hold on to that, because I just believe times are going to get even harder. So let's keep pouring. Let's pour a little more. Value adapts. Don't stay stuck. What you offer may change, but why you offer it shouldn't. What you offer may change, but why you offer it, it shouldn't. Okay? Repackaging your strengths for the season you're in. Keep that in mind. Right now, it doesn't look normal. Things may not look normal, may not feel normal. But at the end of the day, it's about knowing your core, knowing the foundation. Can I repackage what I know in a way that fits what's happening right now? All right. Flexibility doesn't mean failure at all. Mm-mm. It means wisdom. You're being wise because you cannot use probably what you were able to use last year, 2 years ago, 4 years ago, the same today. Things, it's a different landscape. Things are different. So You want to become flexible. It doesn't mean you're failing. No, it means that you're using wisdom to fit a mode, to fit what's happening right now. So maybe it's a collective of what you did, adding more to it to see how it works in this time. But right now, we just need to stay flexible. We need to stay flexible. We need to have an open mind. We need to be willing to make some changes in order to be able to be equipped and prepared for what's happening right now and how things are really affecting the whole. Okay, we're going to pour a little more into purpose. So invest in growth that outlasts trends. Whew, I'm going to take a sip. Hold on. Invest in growth that outlast trends. Build skills that stay relevant, even when markets don't. That's another thing. Think about what's in your hand. What skills do you possess? What skills do you possess to be able to stay relevant, right? Um, And it's not by chance that you have skills. Don't minimize them because you don't think that they have value. But look at your skills and see how they can be adaptable in times like this to be useful for you, to help provide for you, your family. So think about what's in your hand. What do you possess? What skills do you possess that can actually turn into income for you? Okay. And then purpose led work attracts impact, not just income. Purpose led work attracts impact, not just income. And also, water the root as we plant seeds. Water the root, not just the fruit. Focus on legacy over likes. Don't get caught up in those things that are just they're temporary. They're here today, gone tomorrow. Think long term. You know, think about when you think about legacy, think about your lineage, think about those that are in your family, think about your children, think about, what is it that you are watering for long term effects that will outlast you. That's another reason why I am such an advocate for really letting people know the power of their story. The power of your story has lasting effects. The power of your story will outlive you. That's why it's so important, I think. And more people today are writing books. More people today are letting their story be heard, lending their voice, writing on their areas of expertise, writing about what they've come through that may be a blessing for someone else. More people are sharing their stories, which is so important. And that's why this whole platform was birthed out of Hope of Vision Publishing, the publishing company, really to give a voice to allow people to know their voices, their stories, they do matter. Okay. And so plan it because it'll outlive you, your story, and it can become a part of your legacy, your message. Okay. All right. So this is a section that we all can take part in, which is our reflection questions. Yes. So in our reflection questions, pretty much we are leaving you two questions. Okay. We're leaving you two questions that you can take with you on this journey. Think about it and see how it may help you along the way in your daily walk. Maybe you order it later for later on. Maybe you answer it later on. But let me give you the question. So the first one is, where am I still trying to operate from an outdated version of my purpose? Whew. Let me read that one more time. I really want that to sink in. Okay. Really want that to sink in. Where am I still trying to operate from an outdated version of my purpose? Sounds like you may not have evolved from what was. Keep moving forward. Okay. And when you think about outdated inversions, it's like, okay, old programming, let's renew our programming, let's get a reboot, let's get an update. All right. So think about that. Where am I still trying to operate from an outdated version of my purpose? All right, let's talk about question number 2. What part of my calling needs a mindset upgrade to stay relevant and resilient? Excuse me. What part of my calling needs a mindset upgrade to stay relevant and resilient? Okay. Those are 2 questions that I'm leaving them for you. I am leaving them for you to think about them, to let it brew, let it steep a little, go back, answer it. Some of these questions you can't just answer on the fly. Some of them you may be able to answer on the fly, but some of them it takes you really kind of thinking about it, looking at the whole picture, not just a piece of the picture, to really be able to answer in order for it to be effective for you. So think about that, okay? All right. So all right, so this is time for the final sip. But what I like to do before going into our close, I just want to make a few announcements. I just want to say a few things. So, subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel over at Morning Brew with Germaine. Yes, the community is growing. Make sure you subscribe, get the latest updates, notifications when new Morning Brews with Germaine are hitting. And make sure you like it. If any of this is really kind of affecting, speaking to you, translating with you, hey, just click the like button. It's all tied with those algorithms and stuff, right? All right. All right. And then also, I like to give an opportunity for anyone that if you are someone that wants to know how to support. So you can support Morning Brew with Germaine you could just type in buymeacoffee.com/Morning Brew with Germaine. That is another way if you like to just for as little as $1, you can buy me a coffee, right? You can actually support the platform and help us continue to grow and continue to be effective in community and help those that are in need. All right. All right. So let's get into our final sip. Let's get into the final sip. All right. So the final sip is where I like to really kind of bring things to a close and just kind of give you some inspiration, along your journey today. And so I want you to be mindful that inflation affects prices, not your power. It affects prices, but not your power. Purpose isn't about what's trending, it's about what's timeless. Okay? You have the ability to adapt without oh, excuse me. Hold on one sec. I felt like I had to sneeze right there. I'm so sorry. Let me say this again. You have the ability to adapt without aborting your calling or abandoning your calling, right? So I don't want you to be confused. Inflation, yes, inflation affects prices constantly going up, and we're living that today, but not your power. Understand your power, what your power is. Purpose isn't about what's trending, it's about what's timeless. So, in our final sip, I want to give you, like we say, we sip slow. But I want to leave this with you. I want you to audit your mindset, not just your budget. I want you to shift your strategy, not your standards. And I want you to remember purpose compounds over time. So I hope something hits. I hope something was effective for you, in this morning brew, that inflation proof your purpose. So hopefully you found some value in it. But you know what? Hey, Go and check out some of the other morning brews with Germaine and see how they may speak to you. Get a shot of inspiration along your days when you're down and you just need some encouragement, right? So, thank you so much for chiming in, and thank you for joining our community. So, stay tuned. Tomorrow we have Mix Blend Wednesdays with a new guest in studio that we're excited about. So, I will see you tomorrow for Mix Blend Wednesdays. Have a great day. Bye. Be safe.